Hello there, I'm Tom Morgan. I'm a Microsoft MVP and community reporter for Microsoft Ignite 2019. I'm joined today by Jeff Tyler, digital media experience lead for Microsoft Studios. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Tom.
Hey. So the reason I want to talk to you is, well, we know that Microsoft Ignite sessions this year are going to be not only recorded, but also live streamed, which is new in this year and is pretty amazing, I think, in terms of technology. It's being made possible by something called the OneStream program, which I know about, and the kind of work that you and your team are doing. And I've got a video which I'm going to link to in the show notes. But for everyone who's not kind of aware of what Stream is, can you give a quick overview of what it is and how it's being used at Ignite this year?
Yeah, definitely. It's so OneStream is a program we put together internally to modernize our overall video workflows for our events. So where we used to have things that were several different work streams. There was the in-room recording, there was the in-room captioning, then there's the online streaming, then there's the post-event publishing and on-demand captioning, and all those things used to be kind of separate work streams that took place. And when we started looking at that, it's really inefficient. It slows the process down to have them as separate work streams. So what we did is we started, how do we put this all end to end into one single program? Where we can take advantage of the work, we're already doing in the different steps of this work stream, and that way there's no duplication of effort as we go. So really, it's our end-to-end program where there's centralized command and control for all of the video devices across the network, across the venues, and also for what's going on in the room, what's going on in the cloud and Azure, and enables us to publish and turn around files much faster post-event.
Okay, so it kind of helps you deal with that kind of scale problem that something like Ignite turns up with.
Yeah, exactly.
So looking specifically at Ignite this year, what is that scale problem? Like, how many simultaneous sessions are happening, and what is being covered here, what isn't being covered? Like, what does that look like for you, like dealing with the content?
Yeah, so we've got, of course, we've got our vision keynote. We have 4 of our pillar keynotes, or tech keynotes as they're called. We have 30 breakout rooms, 12 theaters, and all of these are being streamed and recorded.
Wow!
So at any time, there's up to maybe 42 to 45 different simultaneous live streams. Wow,
that's a real issue. That's not a real issue. It's a real problem. It's a real scale thing to deal with. It's that's amazing. And so how does that work with Microsoft Studios in Redmond? Because I know that there's a production studio there, but they're obviously looking specifically at Ignite. They're the other side of the country. So how does that work? Does the production happen there? Does it happen on site? What does that look like?
Yeah, so there's sort of a hybrid approach. So we have all the breakout sessions, the theater sessions, those actually are going streaming out directly from the venue up into Azure. And we use Azure Media Services for the encoding and packaging and distribution. And then all of the more produced content, the keynotes, for example, those are actually, as well as the online show, I should mention, which will be live throughout the all day, each of the days of the show. That's all going back to Redmond, and because there's actually switching and production taking place in Redmond for that. So this is another piece of the program where we're actually able to tie in and use IP to transport those streams back to Redmond. But what we do is we bring them into the local data center, East US, and bring that across to the West US data center so that we're using the Azure backbone to get those back to Redmond. And then we just downlink it from there. So that way we're not having to traverse the open internet all the way across the country. But yeah, so the majority of the content is going directly to Azure. All the top level content is actually being produced partially in Redmond.
Got it. That makes sense. Wow. So, I'm guessing this is the same process that leads to recordings of sessions being available. That's something that we've had year on year. Has that, or how has that kind of changed over the years? Because my perception as an attendee is that the time between a session ending and the recording becoming available has been going down year on year. So I'll be interested to know, like, has that played into that? Is there a target that you're working to? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's funny to think about because when I first started doing this, we used to do DVDs, and so you have to edit and master, and then a month later DVDs go out, and by then the tech content it's kind of stale sometimes, right? So what we do now, what we've done, in the past it was actually, the in-room recordings would get edited, they get encoded, they get uploaded and published, and that would take a couple days. But now what we're able to do is those live stream archives that we have up in Azure Media Services, those go, if the session is for, let's say, the room's in use from 8 to 5, so we say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Well, we've got session 1, 2, 3, 4 within that, and what we're able to do is just mark an in point and an out point, select a thumbnail, make sure the captions are in sync, hit publish. That live stream archive, without even having to transcode, gets republished as the on-demand file. So that way we're able to turn sessions around in as little as 20 minutes after the session took place. Now, of course, there are QC processes and things like that that make that a little bit slower. But what we're promising people to make sure we have time for any post edits or anything like that that may come up, we're promising people that the sessions will be available the next day, next morning. Realistically, most sessions are going to be up within an hour or two of when they took place.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That makes a real difference, especially on that last day. It's the thing I like to do is, to try and get the sessions from the last day, get them downloaded onto my phone or tablet so I can go onto the plane and watch them on the way home. It makes a real difference. It's great. Yeah, awesome. So kind of finally, any tips from you for people going to Ignite? I mean, it can be tips to do with the streaming and the recording of content, or just general, because I guess you go to a lot of large events. So yeah, kind of any tips from you?
Well, I mean, definitely, if you can, stay an extra day or two and enjoy, some of the theme parks in Orlando. I do that every year when we're there. But as specific to the event, I would say, part of, having everything streamed and available for the attendees, the reason we do that is to give you more flexibility, right? So that way you don't have to worry about, I'm over here and I need to be over there. You can watch it where you are. So, relax and, you can sit in our viewing lounge that's on site, what we call the hangout in the hub. There's 12 giant screens there to watch on. You can watch on your device anywhere. Go get coffee. Of course, you want to be on site in the rooms for most things because you can, interact that way. But really just kind of take your time and relax and let the content come to you. Yeah, awesome advice. Cool. Well, look, having live streaming available this year is going to be so useful to so many people. So I wanted to say thank you for your efforts and the efforts of your team. It's awesome. It's a real technical achievement. I look forward to making the most of it. I'm going to put a link to that OneStream video as well. It's got some kind of more interesting information in it as well if people want to find out more. For more videos about Microsoft Ignite, both in the run-up and once it starts, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm doing lots of these with lots of different people across kind of what's happening with Ignite. Jeff, thanks so much for your time today. It's been really, really interesting. Thank you, Tom.